Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Marvel's Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Season 5, Episode 19. It's called Option 2. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always, and naturally last episode, we ended with the implication that Kovas and his ship and his army were coming for S.h.i.e.L.D. And we get there quite quickly in this one. And they kind of realise that something's coming because they realise that Talbot was sending out the coordinates of the place. Yeah. So that was bad news. And my cat is in the way. Go away, cat. Yeah, in the direction. His tail was just about to hit the camera there. I was just watching intently.
Yeah, every time. There's always a cat in the way.
I was ready to get mad at him. I was
Should have
ready.
done. They're awful.
So we have essentially a siege episode. I will say this: the ship in the sky look quite good. I feel like the show has like cut some corners this season because they've made sure most of it's set in like the lighthouse. There's a lot of like corridors and stuff. But whenever we actually do need to have a big visual effect of space or a spaceship or something, it's tended to look quite good. So they seem to be managing their budget as best they can.
Yeah, because even like season 3, when this show was getting really good into it, there was still some wonky effects work going on, and you forgive it because it's a TV budget, whatever. You don't expect that much from them. But this season, they're probably not the best they ever have.
Yeah. So now we have pretty much all the team. s.h.i.e.L.D. being the exception. She's off to see the Candyman, Jake Busey's character. For intel. I mean, it's to help Robin and her mother and get them somewhere safe, but she has this alternative motive, of course, because she's going to try and save Coulson and get some, Deathlock intel from the company that made him and find out what's going on. Which actually, going back to this season, like bringing up like greatest hits of past things, we added another one on because not only did he mention Garrett again, he's like, oh, Garrett had this centipede thing.
But I'm kind of used to hearing Garrett at this point.
Yeah, he's been mentioned a couple of times this season because of that stuff. Because he was part of everything else and all that. But then he's like, but there's like one ingredient missing from this. This is the last one left, but there's one ingredient missing. There was an extra thing in it that kept him healthy, something that kept him regenerating. And he's like, but no one knows where to find it. I mean, there's a place here, but I couldn't find it in any map. And she looks at it and goes, that's because it's not a place. And I'm like, okay. I feel like we'll know what this is when we see where she's going with this. And of course, it's the post scene at the end, where she goes to a grave, and she's got her shovels. And I'm like, oh, who's this? Who's this? And I'm like, oh, see the tombstone. Oh, and I see the tombstone. And it's her mother, Jia Young, who, we've not seen since the season 2 finale. Like, again. And I feel like, because we've mentioned, obviously, Garrett was season 1, Jia Young was season 2, season 3 we had Hive and all that, we've brought them up. Deathlock was also season 1, we've brought him up. Season 4, of course, we've mentioned the framework a lot and LMDs and everything else this season.
I mean, we're talking about Centipede this episode, and that was, if I correct me if I'm wrong, the very first episode.
It was Deathlock and Centipede. That was the two big sort of things that were in that episode. Yeah. So no. Just one more big thing from the show's past we hadn't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the characters that were brought up before with Von Strucker.
Yeah, we've been through them all.
Yeah. So tons and tons of stuff. So obviously that's and it makes sense given her power was she lived a long time, she had regenerative powers, so it makes sense that's where they got it from. So she'd really go for it. And of course, Yo-Yo, upon hearing that Sky's away to fetch some stuff to save his life, is like, no, this is how we lose. I didn't change anything.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course debates with that come up.
It's funny, she was so convinced she'd saved the world, and then as soon as she hears this, it's like, oh shit, maybe not.
Do you know what I liked about this? Because obviously when Sky was still there and they had their scene where they were all kind of talking about plans and stuff, and it kind of broke out into an argument amongst kind of everyone. Like Sky was pissed at Yo-Yo, Yo was pissed back, then Sky was also clearly like, there was one point she's like, unless there's any objections, and she looked right over at Fitz just waiting for the fight.
There was points where Fitz is like saying things and you can see her like, he's on my side here.
But it's the side eye. She's giving him the side eye.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with this at all. But Joe, I loved about all this. First of all, it felt like your family was fighting because it's like, no, I don't want you all fighting. This is awkward, but in a good way, like in a way it's supposed to feel. And the bit that I loved especially was later on when it's Yo-Yo and Mac. Yo-Yo tries to talk to Mac, and he's like, "Nah, that's not what we do. But we're not killers." And I love that Yo-Yo brings up May and what she had to do with the kid. right? Because, and what I love about that is that it felt so well written and so like ingrained in its universe. Because, on the one hand, you know, I'm actually kind of on the side that she was acting a little bit vindictive and she maybe crossed the line because she kind of swooped in and just did it without thinking about it.
Absolutely.
But her bringing this up is like this most valid thing she could bring up in this argument.
Yeah, I think the argument against it is, for me, there was no other choice. It was that,
Yeah.
or that was it.
Yeah, that was the last straw. That was the last line. Yeah.
Whereas here we saw she was being talked down. Like there was another way, like, or at least at that point where she could, it seemed like there could have been another way.
Yeah, Yo-Yo maybe wanted to believe it was the last line, and like this was there's no choice. But I love that she brought that up because I'm like, yeah, and Mac doesn't really have much because Mac wasn't there, so he doesn't have the argument we do that he saw that she was being talked down. He can't say that firsthand. But he doesn't really have anything to respond to it, and it's kind of this interesting thing because right after this scene, she runs into May, and there's a bit of an awkward moment, and she's that's kind of talking about it, and May just says like, "Hey, look, you thought you did the right thing, and the only person who's going to know if it was the right thing is you, but you're going to have to accept that not only will you feel different, that other people are going to look at you differently." And I love that we just brought up what she did, and she's actually given her advice based on her experiences. Like, no matter what, people looked at me differently afterwards, and you just kind of have to live with that.
That's when she got the reputation of being the cavalry, and we've revisited this event a few times over the show's history, and for her the way it changed her, and
for every other character, like for May, it's already kind of part of her history, so it's almost not a shock. It's just something they heard about later on. Not Coulson, he was around, of course, but for everyone else, it's kind of like, oh, that's just part of her history. That's her in the past. May's the soldier who makes the tough choices. But for Yo-Yo, this is fresh, and no one's really seen her do anything else. And arguably, again, going back to the actual moments, we can argue that Yo-Yo crossed the line more than May ever did, because May actually was,
We saw that, what happened with May, eventually.
Yeah.
Before we'd seen it, we don't know. Maybe there was another way, but it really didn't feel like it once we finally saw it.
Yeah, and we saw what Yo-Yo did. We saw that, and we saw more than Yo-Yo even did. Yo-Yo swooped in and
she just rushed in and without thinking.
Yeah. So no, but I like that because it just the way she was bringing up arguments, whether or not you think they're valid or not, they make the most sense for her to bring up and argue in her defense, even if ultimately you're going to come down the side of no, they don't work for you. It makes sense that she would go to that and think that they would. So I thought that was really solid writing, and like the writers being very aware of their own show's history and their own character's history, and bringing up relevant points when they should be brought up. I really appreciate that.
It's true because there's often a thing in TV shows where big events for characters will kind of just get forgotten a couple of seasons later.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate, but it does happen more often than not. And here it never feels like that. It feels like no, we might not always talk about them, but they're always there. Yeah,
they're always part of the show's history. So no, I thought that was really strong. And then, of course, all the debates we're having in the episode is Deke trying to convince Fitz and Simmons that the multiverse theory exists because he thinks he won't blink out of existence if they change the future. And then they're like, nah, we're pretty sure that you're going to be the proof that we've changed things because you're going to go away.
Yeah. Simmons wrote a paper on this.
But quite right. So, but it's all theory, to be fair. Like, no one knows for sure.
Yeah, but it really feels like Deke's trying to convince himself. It's like, hey, I'm good here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm sticking around.
I think for fun's sake, I want him to be right, so he's around next season if we get season 6.
I agree, but dramatically, I can see being really effective the other way.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the little lines from Fitz, like, oh, but Simmons, Deke is never right. Let's just make that clear right now. And other lines like that, or later on, like after Deke's essentially like give him the winning idea, and like like when the alien shop, and he gives him all the plans, and he's basically saved the day with all his intel, and Fitz just goes up to, hey Deke, just in case something happens, never call me Gramps again, and then so
that's it. I knew that, like, because he says he calls him Gramps, and then Fitz is building up to this whole thing. It goes on for 30-40 seconds. I know exactly where this is going. The whole time I'm just waiting for it, and it's still so satisfying.
It is. It's really, really funny. And actually, Joe, I'd completely forgot about the Patrick Warburton hologram stuff.
So did I, and then I just heard his voice. I was like, oh yeah, him.
Yeah, because that was like way back when they first got back into the lighthouse, and then here we are again, and it's like, which by the way, I might have had my biggest laugh of the season this episode. Maybe.
Is it with Coulson's reaction to the computer? May's berating him.
it was not even the berating afterwards. It's just the immediate moment when, like, so computer's on, right? The hologram's like, oh, there's a big event going on, so here's your options on the computer, the nearby terminal, and pick your option. And it's like, option 1, there's a weather disaster or something going on. Option 2, you'll be under nuclear attack. And he's like, yeah, that'll do. He presses number 2, and then it goes, number 3, alien invasion. Shit.
I love it. May's like, you always read the whole menu, Phil. Always wait for the whole menu.
I laugh so hard. It's just there actually was an alien invasion option. It's so good, and then everything
it's
after
him
that.
Assuming that far back they wouldn't have thought, oh, hang on, there might be an alien invasion, so they didn't plan for it.
And then everything after that, where he's over the comms and he's basically like, all right, so here's the thing: there's aliens outside. We're going to be locked inside. Good news is the lighthouse is airtight and it's going to keep us alive and all that. Downside, we might be here for 15 years-ish, and then just make off.
Yeah.
That would really crack me up. It was very, I'm not doing this intentionally, but it reminded me of the start of Serenity, when Mal over the comms on the ship is saying that they're going to explode, possibly.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll let you off this
That's
one.
a very similar speech, a very similar scene.
It is. I'll let you off this one. Cause
speaking of alien invasions, did you notice the one little line that kind of tied into Infinity War?
See, that was the thing. I was like, is that supposed to be tying into Infinity War?
I think it oddly is. I think that's their way of saying, yeah, we're not really tying into it this year. We're just going to...
Because, no spoilers for Infinity War, obviously, but only certain segments are in New York, specifically.
Yes.
Which is the line here, is, is all that stuff happening in New York.
The first thing's in New York.
It is. So I'm thinking, okay, is this supposed to be placing it in a timeline of that part of the movie happened and we're directly after that but before the rest? Or I mean, is this just, unless whatever.
I mean, unless they... Because technically... I think it's because technically the release date is the day this aired.
Although it's worth noting, isn't it? Because originally Infinity War was supposed to be next week. When did they move it back a week? Would it early enough for this
that's true, but I'm thinking more of the fact that this used to be on Tuesdays, so it was easier to say, oh, most people who really cared saw it over the weekend, whereas this week they can't say that because this airs on a Friday night now.
You're right, yeah.
So, unless they tie in more directly next week or the week after, which I'm kind of hoping they don't, to be honest. I kind of want them just to do their own thing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're so separate at this stage. I'm like, I almost want them to just come out and go, do you know what? Screw it. This isn't actually connected to the MCU anymore. Forget it. This is just its own.
Well, we can't really do that because we did spin out of the MCU. It still has to be connected.
But, let's just. Do you know what we need? We need Deke to prove that this is a multiverse.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is just a separate universe.
When they came back from the future, they actually entered a different timeline that was separate from the MCU.
Yeah, that's the one.
I could do that. So, because I almost took this as a joke, like, that's as much as we're going to tie into it, so all you get is, there's something on the news, something.
Yeah, her just going, I don't have time to watch the news. It really felt like the show going, we don't give a shit.
I think it's because they've been ignored for so long that they probably shouldn't give a shit anymore. Because I think next week we might talk a bit more about how Infinity War could affect the show if they wanted to tie into it. I think we'll leave that this week.
Too soon.
Yeah, it's too soon this week, but we'll maybe tie into that next week when we talk about next week's episode. But anyway, back to this, because we've not talked about some big meaty things yet. So first and foremost, these alien dudes are sent down by Kovas, down to the lighthouse, because Coulson actually realises, oh shit, they've got that teleporter thing still. That's their tech. They could just beam down here.
Just get in here.
And we get these... This is funny. I went through a series of emotions with these alien beings, because at first I thought they looked really cool. Like, the first time we see them, they're really in dark light, and they're kind of like hunched over, and I was like, oh, this is quite creepy and cool. And then later on, when I saw them in better light, I thought, these look a bit cheap.
Yeah.
They're a bit goofy Power Rangers villainess.
Yeah, Deke was mentioning how, they bring the darkness with them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yep, darkness would have been better.
Yeah. So ultimately, they didn't look as great as I thought it did at first. But I did like all the stuff that actually, holding down.
I like the effect of them.
Yeah, holding down the fort in various places against them. The main hub, then the science lab, and then the others in the hall. Davis and Piper are there. All these things.
Fantastic camera work with Coulson, a couple of others in the room with the guns.
Going around Coulson being excited that he's been given the shotgun axe. cracked a little smile on me. I also, it's funny because, and again, no spoilers for Infinity War, but there was an Aliens reference in it, which I appreciated because I saw it on Alien Day, April 26th, just for the record.
Good for you.
LV246. Or 426, right, sorry. LV426. Anyway, so, but there's a scene in this that reminded me a lot of Aliens, actually. It's when they're all in the main command room, and they know they're in front of them, you can hear them banging on the doors, but then you hear them coming up over the ceiling. Like, that's a scene in Aliens, basically. So it's played a little bit differently, but it's essentially that scene.
No, it is, yeah.
Yeah, but again, action happens. So, if I told you to, like, predict things that might happen coming up in the show last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, any episode this season, really, in a million years, would you have ever guessed, oh, Talbot's going to go in the chamber and get all the gravitorium pumped into him?
If you had said, we've been guessing who could be the destroyer of worlds all season, literally all season, I don't think we've ever once guessed Talbot.
I don't think anyone's ever guessed Talbot. because he was on Supergirl, we assumed he might not be back.
No, that's true, especially given where they left him off last season.
Yeah. So it was nice to see him, and even now we still don't expect it, but he's acting all out of it. He's kind of coming back and forth. He's because he realizes with Coulson, he's like, oh, tell me that number I'm saying is not what I think it is, because he's kind of aware of the danger of that. And then later on, he wants to help, but then he gets into the science lab eventually, and he knocks down Simmons with a sleeper, or an acer as they're called, not sleepers. Sleeper works as well, though, I think.
It does, but...
That was a possible name. Fisk really missed a beat there. He sees the chamber, he cooks it all up, he gets inside, and I'm like, okay, where's this going? They're actually just going to make him the superpowered being, right? And then later on, like, you see the alien dude, like, get dragged back past the door, and then just a split splatter.
Because it plays it at first, because the way the door explodes, it plays it like that might be Sky returning. Because they actually was like, they're talking about Sky at that moment. They're like, where is she? And they're like, don't worry, the radios are down. She won't be able to contact us. She'll be back when she's back. And then the door smashes open, and you're like, okay, it could be. Yeah,
it could be her. She could be her back to save
and then the dude kind of goes flying backwards. I'm like, maybe not.
And then you get that really imposing shot, that way of Talbot standing there with the light from behind him.
Yeah.
With all the I don't want to quite call it fog, but just light mist, yeah. And it's like, okay, what are we doing here? And, eventually he comes into the main room. I remember how that glorious thing that Ruby did last week with like making the head implode for Von Strucker.
Yep.
We get that on like 4 of these aliens at the same time with their entire body. They
crumple.
They crumple. They contort and contract, and then
it's pretty great. I'm a fan of this effect. I'm a big fan of this effect.
That's my representation.
That's pretty good. It was pretty accurate, I'm not gonna lie.
My favourite part of it is because of the way it happens. It's not just like a smooth thing. They're sort of like going like that and like jiving to the sides and like
it really reminds me of like I've seen it before, like alien transformations. Where like they crack up and then they stretch out.
Yeah. It's the reverse.
That's kind of what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can see it. Yeah. Okay. So no, that was a fun scene. And we actually end this plot because everyone's getting their asses kicked, everyone's down and out, they're barely surviving, and then Talbot comes in, kills the aliens, and then basically makes a platform with the concrete, on the floor. Coulson's on the concrete with him, I believe. He's on the platform with him. And then Talbot rises up almost Magneto style and makes a hole through the entire lighthouse to get out, with Coulson on the platform, as everyone else is just looking in shock and awe of like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, pretty reasonable question.
And I agree, what the hell did just happen? I did not see the Talbot plot going this way.
Like you said, we weren't even sure we were getting Talbot at all, and then here we are.
But even at the end of last week, I didn't see the Talbot plot going this way.
No, not a chance. We were... Because we thought, okay, Daisy maybe, but we were sure that was going to swerve away from that.
And because that's the thing. After this, I'm now like fairly convinced his ending's going to be tragic because they're going to have to
put him down.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe Coulson at one point would go in as a way of saving him.
Yeah.
Stand by that that was a possibility at the time. I had way more to base that on than I ever did to guess Talbot.
unless Coulson, like, they essentially just about kill Talbot and stop him, and Coulson gives up his centipede spine thing to save Talbot, and Coulson goes out a hero.
Yeah. Do you know what I can see happening? Here's the thing: did Talbot use all the gravitonium to do that?
It put it up to 100%. We see it on the screen.
Okay. That's fair enough, because I wasn't sure if it used it all up. Because if it hadn't, I would have said, oh, he's getting out of control. He's cracking the Earth apart. Right, someone else go in and hold it together, essentially. But maybe Daisy will try anyway.
We got 3 episodes left.
Hold it together as he cracks it open.
We got 3 episodes left, and Talbot just became Super Quake.
Yeah.
Ultra Quake.
This is unexpected, but I'm down.
Oh man. Do you know the thing is, let's see if he has a tragic ending. Rewatching this show in a few years is going to be really depressing. Every time you get to his early stuff where he's just a fun, goofy like antagonist in the military.
Yeah, he's kind of that dick, and everyone's against him.
But he's really likable and goofy.
He's likable, yeah. He's not evil. He's just being he's a bit of a dick.
Yeah. It's going to make all that really like sort of bittersweet on a rewatch, because you're going to know how sad his story ends. If it ends as sadly as I feel like it might.
Yeah. And he's a busy man, Pazda.
He is. But at the same time, part of me still thinks, Coulson's going to give up his spine thing for him.
That's the thing. I can really see Coulson being the one to go this season at the end.
Yeah, no, I really can. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. And it's not even like we'll lose Coulson completely, because he's going to be in Captain Marvel.
That's true.
Yeah, it's young Coulson. I don't know if they're going to use de-aging on him, but they'll definitely do it with Samuel L. Jackson. There was set photos today. Samuel Jackson's got a head of hair, but he's got like... the funny thing is he looks so young anyway, they don't even really need to bother, but he had markings in his face for the CG to like de-age him.
Smooth it out a little bit.
Yeah. But for 69, that man looks good.
He does. I think we went through this not so long ago. I had no idea the dude was almost 70. He looks like, mid-40s, 50.
Yeah. The dude looks good. I think that's the benefit of being basically bald for the last, 25 years.
Yeah. He does look good. But, this is the thing. Like, that Marvel, as much as I've had criticisms with a lot of the movies in general, they are still amongst the best at the de-aging.
Oh,
technique.
sure, yeah. When you see it in Civil War or Ant-Man with Michael Douglas,
it is fantastic what they've done with it. But it's always been for short sequences, right?
Oh yeah.
How's that going to play up? Will it hold up over extended periods with these characters? That's what I'll be interested in seeing.
It's been a few extra years. Tech's maybe improved. And...
You say that, but then other places that have done it more recently have done it nowhere near as good. Not even like small budget places.
They don't have that secret sauce though. That Marvel secret sauce.
The last Pirates of the Caribbean, that was last year, right?
You tell me.
I think so. They did a young Johnny Depp.
Oh
boy, it looked awful. It looked really bad. And I'm like, that movie had a budget. It's not like it was a cheap movie. So, God knows.
But no. So just that's the thing. I think this was a really fun action episode. But I actually think all of the character drama, the fighting, because it really felt like everyone was fighting with everything that's been going on recently. All of their motivations to be angry at each other all made sense, and it played nice and awkward. Like your family was, it was like your parents are fighting. You don't want them to stop. Parents.
I think one of the biggest critics I can give right now is none of this feels like sometimes, especially on network TV, it can feel like drama for the sake of drama's sake. None of this is like everything has grown organically from events have unfolded, people have reacted in different ways gradually, and this is where we are now. And I buy all of it.
Yep. I just want to point out, there's a scene where when the aliens first show up and Deke's in the hallway, and it's clear that he's going to get a first glimpse at them. But the camera, he's up in the back ray, and the camera sort of pulls back, right, from him. And then into the foreground steps this other character. And as soon as he stepped into frame, I just went, oh, hey, red shirt. Because I knew he was going to be there so that Deke could see him get killed.
Yeah,
it was just so obvious. But
I'll tell you about the other bit I was laughing at. It's the guys talking with Piper. We just cut in at the end of the conversation, and she's
Davis.
I could never remember his name. And she's like, you survived all of that, and you only got like one scar to show for it. It's like, do you not tell everyone this story? And he's like, nah, no one cares.
I love the idea that he has like the most amazing adventures off camera that we never see.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic. I love that we don't hear the story either. We just get the end of this, her reaction. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and then later on you was like, oh, I can't die, I'll be fine. So, oh, that makes two of you apparently. No, it was good. It was a good, solid episode. So, yeah. Obviously, Kovas is still up there. We'll see what he tries to do. We'll see what Talbot tries to do. Will Coulson accept his life-saving centipede spine, and or whatever else? So,
yeah, still need to see some lemons.
Can't forget the lemons.
I want to do a shout out to the Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. subreddit for everyone giving their partners and colleagues lemons and just seeing if they understand it or not.
Well, they're posting pictures of like their
just like
getting...
lemons in people's lockers, you know, on people's beds, you know, all sorts. I was like, I approve of this.
I don't think I've ever just went and bought a lemon, but I'm tempted to now.
Yeah, I'd buy a pack of lemons if I want to put them in my drinks. Yeah.
It's just not a fruit I tend to find myself buying. I buy a lot of lemon things, but not an actual lemon.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you know, in the summer when I want some sliced lemon in my drink.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, that has been Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Lemons and world breakers and one little throwaway line of dialogue that may or may not be referencing to Infinity War. Oh yeah, I mean, we've got an alien spaceship here, and you know there's that convenient line. Oh, it's cloaked off from the rest of the world. No one else knows there's a spaceship here.
Yes. And feel free to speculate about that, whether or not that, you know, how in depth that was a reference in the comments. But be considerate. Mark it as spoilers.
Yeah. If you're going to spoil the movie, make sure you mention that before you start talking about it. But I generally think that was that crazy stuff in New York. I don't have time to watch the news, and that's why I think it was a joke saying we're not going to reference it anymore.
I do as well,
because Sky is literally saying, we don't have time to reference that.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what I thought. But I'm like, huh, okay.
Oh, and before we go, we mentioned Infinity War. It's well worth mentioning that tomorrow, at the time of recording, so Sunday, we're going to be recording a review for Infinity War, which will be both of us, plus Matt and Tim, who are the other guys that do Mail Fuzz stuff with us. So all four of us will be there talking about Infinity War. And there's a mix of like opinions. Some people are DC fans, some people are Marvel fans, some people like the Marvel movies, some people don't love the Marvel movies. It's a nice mix of opinions. So,
an interesting discussion, if nothing else.
Yes, and if you want to hear Connor be really negative, because I know he's not super fond, you can come and check that out. But that is it. Share, let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there, but otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching, and always remember, have you got any vanilla? That's an outro to a different show I started there. That was weird. Vanilla, have you got any? That's what we do. Have you got any lemons? That's the real question. Do you have any lemons?